going to go ahead and select the marquee tool, and then we're going to select our sketch that we've chosen, and then we're going to copy it by going Control C on a Windows or Command C on a Mac. Now we're going to create a new document. So we'll go File, New, and let's make the width of our document about 350 pixels and make the height 600. We'll hit OK. And now what we're going to do is we'll copy our sketch into this document by going Control V on a Windows or Command V on a Mac. So the next step after we've created all of our thumbnails and we've selected one is to start detailing out this little sketch. Because as of now, he's not much of a character. He's just sort of some shapes that make up the idea of a pose. We're going to bring down the opacity of this layer first thing. The way you do that is you come over here by the layers, and there is a drop down menu that says opacity. You hit the down button and you can slide that back and forth, and that allows you to bring down the opacity. We want it at about 30%. So now let's add a new layer. On this new layer, we're going to go ahead and start sketching out a more detailed image of our character. This will have more body form to it, and we'll add in the arms and possibly add a little bit of costuming in there. So I'll start with the legs. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit so it doesn't take so long for you to watch me sketch this character out. So as you can see here, I'm just starting to fill out the form of our character. I'm giving him legs, feet. Now I'm going to start filling in that torso and also adding costume pieces such as a scarf. Then we can start adding in our arms and hands. And remember, this doesn't have to be perfect. It can be pretty rough and rigid. There doesn't have to be a ton of definition. We just want to start seeing those shapes and figuring out what our character is going to look like. Don't be afraid to mess up, because you can always erase it or undo a move. So really experiment in this phase and try all different types of things until you get the character looking how you want. You can also do multiple different sketches. As you'll see here soon, we'll do a second sketch of this same character. As you can see, I didn't like that nose, so I just took it out. Then we'll add in a little bit of hair here. Okay, so here's a first rendition of our character. It's very simple, it's not super detailed, and it's a little bit scribbly. It's not super defined in certain areas, like his arm here, for example, but it's just to get the point across so you can start to understand who your character is, what they look like, what their hairstyle might be, if they're holding a weapon, what their pose might be, their neutral pose. Now, just like the thumbnail sketches, it's important to do multiple versions of these. So we're going to do a second one now. So I'm going to add a new layer, and I'm going to turn this sketch drawing off. Now in this new layer, I'm going to do the same thing, but try something different. So I might change the shapes a little bit, do a different costume, add a different weapon. We'll just see how it goes. So I'm going to start with the legs again. So on this second sketch, I want to try some different things. So I'm going to do some different shapes for his legs. As you saw before, his legs were pretty narrow and skinny. This time I want to add some wider legs and some bigger feet. These big old boots he's wearing. Maybe a circular body. And I'll draw on those hands and arms. And like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You'll probably find that a lot of the sketches you do just don't go in the direction you want, or they just start to look terrible, and that's completely fine. Sometimes you might get a little bit stuck, so just keep moving your pen or pencil or cursor around and just keep drawing and keep drawing. You can always erase, take away, but just keep making shapes. Every now and then stop and think about what you're doing. But for the most part, you just want to keep moving your pencil. Okay, I'm now finished with my second drawing. I don't really like it. I think it looks kind of terrible. I don't think it looks like a good character, but I do like his legs and his boots. So what if you want to add a part of one sketch to another sketch? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to select the legs off of our character by using the lasso tool. So we'll just draw a shape around him like so. And then we're going to copy them, which is Control-C on a Windows and Command-C on a Mac. Next, we're going to add a new layer, and now we're going to paste those in, which is Control-V on a Windows and Command-V on a Mac. Now let's use our Grab and Move tool, and we're going to reposition those so that they line perfectly up with the original drawing. Now we're going to turn both these layers off. And by the way you turn layers off is by hitting this little eye next to the layer, and that will make it so you can't see the layer anymore. Now you can still see these legs because we have this drawing on, but if we turn that off, you'll see now we can't see any of the layers except for our one layer that's on and our background. So now let's turn on our original drawing. Make sure that you have the layer selected, otherwise you're not going to be able to copy from that layer. Let's use the lasso tool to cut out this top half, and we're just going to copy it and paste it as we did before. So we've copied it. Now we're going to turn on our layer with the legs, and we can turn this original drawing off. Now let's come back up to the leg layer, and we're going to paste in that half of his body. Now using the Grab and Move tool, we'll move him into position. And now you can see we have the legs that we liked on the top half of the body that we like. And this is how you can start splicing and slicing your sketches to start creating the character exactly as you want them. Now let's try one more with another thumbnail sketch. So we're going to come back in here and let's select a different body. So I'm going to select this guy with the lasso tool. Now I'm using the lasso tool because there's other sketches pretty close to him, and by using the square marquee tool, it might select bits and pieces of them, and I don't want them. So now let's copy this guy, and we're going to create a new document. So again, let's bring up the size to about 350 and the height to about 600. We'll hit OK. Now we'll paste our character in there and turn down the opacity on his layer to about 30%. Next, we're going to add that second layer above it, and using our brush tool, we can go ahead and get to work and start sketching our second design for our character. Okay, so I finished my first sketch, and I like the idea of this character. He just wasn't sketched out